and gentlemen, and welcome to a very special edition of America Right. Today we're going to be talking about the up and coming 2024 election. This is an election special. I'd like to thank each and every last one of you that are listening to the show today, that are following it, even those that catch it on a rebroadcast. I want to tell you that I appreciate your time. I appreciate you for taking the time out of your day to listen to these important events or these important things that I'll be talking about when it comes to this 2024 election. Also, for those that are watching on the YouTube channel, please hit the subscription button and the notifications button so that anytime we do a show and you do miss the show, you are able to come back and watch that show at another time. But you are notified as it's going live. So, therefore, you are here with us as we go through this. Now, to talk about this 2024 election, there's a thing where we're even going to be talking about the thing that has transpired over on the Democratic side of this election, where Joe Biden has dropped out of the race and his VP, Kamala Harris, has now assumed the nomination for the Democratic Party to be the representative against Donald Trump in November. That makes for some really, really good talking points, but also it makes for some really good situations or things that people can talk about as to how they really do feel about what's going to transpire here and in November of this year. So as before we get to going here in the show, what I would like to do is I would like to send out this notification. And that is, for those that are looking at the show, and if you have some things that you feel like you'd like to discuss, or there's some things that you don't agree with, you're more than welcome to send me some messages via the comments on the YouTube channel. And just let me know if you'd like to be a part of the show where you actually can, voice the grievances you may have, or, so your thoughts as to how you think, just based on what was covered in the show, that you'd like to say different. So now that we've said all of that, now it's time to get into the show. And what we're going to be talking about is I want to put my primary focus on Black men. And I'm putting my focus on Black men because this is the very, very time that you would think that we're supposed to have some unity. We're supposed to have some support. And we're supposed to be as one. And I say that because, from this supposedly quote unquote celebrity perspective, there is this crazy thought or this generality that's being said that Black men are for Donald Trump. Well, I can tell you that that's unequivocally a lie, because no one asked me, and I can tell you clearly, I don't support Donald Trump. I will never support someone that's a rapist and someone that is a felon as president of the United States of America. Now, to make that a little bit clearer for those that are listening to this, I am not a Democrat. I am not a Republican. I am totally independent of this whole system. But I will say, if I know that, and knowing that I need to make my life a little bit better, I know what makes my life better. But maybe for those men, and I'm quite sure there's just a few of them that's speaking loud and boastfully because there are either in the entertainment status, or they may hold something that's a little bit higher in esteem, not part of the 1%, but they're a little bit higher in esteem as to a lifestyle living. But to make that monolithical statement that black men are for Donald Trump, that's a lie. And I hope that they stop saying that, because to say black men are for Trump means that we're monolithical, and if one says it, that we all gonna do it. That's not true, because we all have our way of thinking, the way we think, the way we know things are going to be for us, and how we want them to be. So it's not about, it's a thing that you have to have displeasure and dislike for these people, which that's a yes and a no. When it comes down to that, the reason why, yes, you have this problem, especially if you're an African American, is because if you're saying black men are for Trump, then what you're saying is that all black men are going to vote for Donald Trump, despite Donald Trump and what the Republican Party has in store are things that are definitely going to make the lives of any man or woman that's non-white. We're going to go back to the 1950s and 60s is where they're trying to take the country. So we're going back to the 19th century. So if we're going back to the 19th century, there's a lot of things that we're not going to be entitled to, or there's going to be a whole bunch of things that we are not going to be allowed to do. Because people like Donald Trump, the Republican Party, and those to be, they have a very different way or shaping of how they see people that's got dark colored skin like mine. They have a problem with that. And so the thing is, not calling any names, but that party in itself, it represents the Antichrist. It represents everything that's negative. It represents everything that's repressionist. It represents everything that if they could take us back to being slaves, that's where they want to take us. So those that are in the entertainment industry that are talking about they're for Donald Trump, I want to ask each and every individual out here that's supporting this person in entertainment, don't care if it's acting, don't care if it's music, don't care if it's a Broadway play, which is still acting, don't care if you're part of a symphony, which is still music. Whoever these people are, I want to ask the people out there that are supporting these people to actually please give me some comments, because I need to have you on this show. I need to have you tell me, why is it that you think that the Antichrist that's going to take every right away from people that are black and brown, Asian, Hispanic, even though, again, there's a lot of confusion amongst all of those people that feel like they have to support the conservative movement. Hey, that's what you want to do. That's fine and dandy. My thing is I'm thinking about how can we make all of our lives better? That is not the way to do it. Case in point is that with this battle for democracy right now at this point, this battle for democracy, let that sink in. This battle for democracy, if this movement actually takes over the White House, do you honestly think your black and brown ass is going to have an opportunity to exist in a in a democratic way in this country? You're crazy. You're crazy. Because anytime somebody can tell you point blank that they don't like black people, and they can say some of the things that they say about black people, but you still support them, you have a problem. And what that means is you basically have to be controlled by a slave owner in order for you to feel comfortable in this country. I said that and I meant that. You have to feel like you need a slave owner in order for your life to be better. Well, I'm one that don't need that. I don't want that. I don't welcome that. And I can tell you, I will never be a slave for anybody in this country or in this world, because that's not who I am. That's not what my life is about. And that's not what my life is going to be about. But what really gets under my craw is that there's not enough people that's speaking up on this idiocy that these people are doing. Hey, you know, if those people really feel like this is what's best for them, then we need to separate those people. People need to know who these people are, and they deserve for people to know who they are. Instead of them being cowards, hiding behind what they think is enough money that's going to protect them and make their lives that much better. No, that's not going to happen. These very same people, as I say, in this entertainment industry that's supporting this Antichrist, these are the people that are more so upset about the people in the underserved communities and the LGBTQ communities coming forward, living their lives, and trying to grow. Those people that are supporting Donald Trump, those black men, are upset because the underserved communities and the LGBTQ communities are growing, they're thriving, and they are not about this kind of repression. But the problem is I want somebody to please write some comments and tell me why. Why would you honestly think that being repressed, being held back, being just demeaned in the most ways that people can ever demean people would be the best thing for the black community or the LGBTQ community? What that means is that as long as these folk feel like they have made the money that they have made, then they're very happy about that. And what they're saying is, because I'm getting mine, I don't want you to get yours. But you go out and you support these very same people by going to their movies, by buying their music, and going to the entertainment and the concerts. For once, again, I've said this before on this show, is how in the hell can you go out there and spend $1,000, $2,000, $2,500, $3,000 on a concert ticket for a person that has not done one thing to bring that money back to your community? They have not shown you not one bit of loyalty, but you're dipping everything into them, and you can't even pay your rent. You can't pay a light bill. You can't pay a water bill. You can't even pay for fees that you need to build yourself at your job. But you would rather max out a credit card, and you would rather go and support these very same people that support Donald Trump. That means that you're going against your own interests, which means that when he represses you, when he takes away health care, which everybody was allowed to have since 2008, 2009, 2010, when the Affordable Health Care Act was passed, Obamacare as they call it. When it was passed, it allowed each and every individual on the face of this earth the opportunity to go and get health care at a reduced rate. And it's the same health care that can actually take care of you for the rest of your life. These folks on the conservative side want to get rid of that because black folk don't deserve health care. Now, we all know health care is a right. That is a right. So anybody tell you that is not, they're lying to you. These people also want to get rid of, education in its most right. They want to do an enormous amount of things that's going to try to cripple communities of for people that look like myself. I don't agree with that. I really don't. And let me tell you this, like I said, I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican, but I will tell you this. I know damn well that Kamala Harris will never be this kind of repressionist like Donald Trump. Kamala Harris stands for everything that can at least get my life back on track, or shall I say, keep it on track. Let me tell you some things about what she has done, because people are running around here lying, and they're saying all kind of things about this woman when they know the truth, but because they're saying it so much, and they're shouting it from the rooftop, that there's so many idiots that's listening to that they're actually sitting there saying that Kamala Harris is against black people. How? How can you even think that? Let me tell you something. With this woman being in the White House with Joe Biden under this current administration, they've actually did some things to help to improve the cost of living. That's for everyone. Now we know this economic system, as they say, is flourishing. We know that it's not working for everybody, but it is trickling down. So there are an enormous amount of people that can benefit from what's happening right now. We just have to be disciplined about what we're doing and how we spend our money. If we will stop spending money in places that don't support us and keeping money in our communities and growing our communities, we will see that difference. We will see that difference. So, as I say, under the Biden-Harris administration, you know, with the cost of living that they've helped for an enormous amount of people, that was done under the Inflation Reduction Act. Now, Kamala Harris had a major part in that because she was out in an enormous amount of places around this country, not just promoting this, but getting a lot of the states on board to help their people in these tough times. These times have been tough for everybody. Everybody that's outside of that 1%. But you know, those that are that just a little bit above where the middle class people are, they too are running around here feeling like they are entitled. Everybody's only entitled to one thing because we supposedly, quote unquote, have a legal system that is just for everybody. We also supposedly, you know, the opportunities that that come down and flow through each individual state and its local county government is supposed to be for everyone. Now we know that's not true. We know that that's a fact, that there are some issues with that. So even with those issues, it's not saying that the money is not there. Is that when you look at your governor, when you look at your lieutenant governor, when you look at your state senate, when you look at your state house, look at how it's structured, and you will plainly see who's the beneficiary and who's the outcast. Now, I'm here in the state of Georgia. Being here in the state of Georgia, people can say an enormous amount of thing about being here in Atlanta. But let's actually let's shoot down some of those lies that people are telling, because Atlanta is a good place to build if you're trying to live your life. If you're trying to do some of the things that you need to do, it's a good place for that because there's an enormous amount of entrepreneurship here. But also, a lot of those people that I spoke of in the beginning, those people are here to keep you from flourishing. There are an enormous amount of people here in Metro Atlanta that supposedly feel like they have made it. They're making the money. They don't want nobody else to make money. They're not trying to partner. They're not trying to build. They're not trying to actually build a coalition within all the communities here that need help. Instead, they're only thinking about themselves. So if they're thinking about themselves, what makes you think that they are thinking of you? Not one thing in the world, because they're not thinking of you. So with that being said, We know that they did the cost. They helped cost of living with the Inflation Reduction Act. Okay, they're trying to, and they've made little inroads in gun control. Now think about this: last year there were over 600 mass shootings in 2023. Now I want you to let that sink in. There were over 600 mass shootings in 2023. And in each and every last one of those places where those mass shootings took place, what do you think transpired, or how do you think this could have happened if people were not vetted properly? Now, I'm trying to understand, why is it that there's a problem with people having the actual identity checks or the background checks that they're talking about doing? Why? It's not a problem. At least I don't have a problem, because I know good and well there's nothing in my background. I know there's nothing in my background that will prevent me from owning a firearm. There's absolutely nothing. So, in knowing that, why would I go to the limit or go to the extent of just saying that I don't want background checks? I want everybody to have a gun. That's some crazy idiotic dumbass shit that they did over in Alabama and Mississippi, where they're letting people walk around here that should not have guns, that are just walking around with guns, and they don't have just guns. They've got that military style. They have military style weapons with some real serious ammo to go into them, and they just basically just do what they want to do at will. You got some parts of Georgia that does that same thing. They also are doing that in Florida. So when you look at this particular bottom corner of the East Coast of America, when you got Alabama, Florida, Georgia, you got Mississippi, South Carolina, and North Carolina, why are they not doing what's necessary to prevent these people that have mental illness or whatever problems they've had before in their lives? Most likely, most of them are felons. Why are they not doing what's necessary to prevent that? We know we have the right to bear arms, but we have the right to bear arms based on a lawful community, a lawful country, a lawful state. What that means is the law only applies to particular people and individuals. These are the people that those black men want to go vote for. Because apparently they want their gun rights taken away. They want them taken away, because I can guarantee you that if there ever came a point that they had to put a restriction on people, I can guarantee that black people would be the first people, regardless of the case, that would not be allowed to have a gun. I don't give a damn what state you're in. That would happen. Don't care if you was in Los Angeles, California. It would be the same thing. And it's loaded down with black and brown people. Loaded down. If they had to do restrictions on gun rights, I can guarantee you that would have the black and brown people first. So, at any rate, how about under the Biden-Harris administration, unemployment is down to its lowest at 3.6%. 3.6%. Every year Joe Biden's been in office, this is how employment has gone. So if employment is growing and everything should be done what it should, everything should be taken care of when it comes to not just the employment, but the employers doing their job. When they don't want to give you a livable wage because they feel like as long as they can keep the thumb on you, you're going to do what they say, when they say it, and how they say it. And if you jump bad, they're going to fire you. They are going to fire you. Now, I want you to think about this. If we talk about three tiers, 1%, middle class, poor people, right? Now, when it comes to that middle class, you've got the folks that are at that $250,000 cutoff that's about right here. You got the folks that's a little bit above them that's sitting here, but they're not really much better off than middle class, because a lot of things that are taking that are being done to build the country, they're having to do a whole lot more of that than they want to, because they don't feel like they need to. They don't feel like they need to. Well, you know what I think would be a good thing is that people just create bank accounts just to have the bank accounts. But over time, just pull your money out and just leave that little minimum balance in that free checking account. Just do that, because then you can have your own money and you don't have to worry about some bank that needs your money to put into what they call into this system to do what they're doing. But when you need a loan, you can't even get a loan from that bank, and your credit is at a 775. Now tell me, how can that work? How does that work? We talk about our system. This system is totally flawed. It's totally screwed up. It's totally still the same, to only to keep those that are building, to keep them down as much as they can, to have that growth be as slow as possible. When what should take maybe 2 to 3 years for you to grow, they want to hold you down to 6 years. Because if they hold you down to 6 years, that means that there are other changes that can be made to the system 3 years out that's going to still make it difficult for you as you're still growing. So think about it. We're on a 3-year cycle regardless of the case. So if you know what you know and you're trying to do what you're doing right now to not just make ends meet, but to build your life for next year, if you want to build it for next year, you got to go 3 years down the road. So we're at 24 now, so you're talking about 2027. If you hadn't started now, then you ain't going to get there. Because that means then you're only making ends meet and you're paycheck to paycheck. So again, I go back and I ask the question, why would you vote for Donald Trump? Why? Donald Trump has caused this country the problem right now when we talk about inflation. That tax cut for the top 1% is still in play. It's still in play. But what they're upset about is Biden and Harris are going to let those things expire. And they should expire. How in the hell, because you feel like you're in the top 1%, you don't have to pay not one thing and your life should just be free? You can go out, you can commit crimes, you can steal, you can embezzle. You can do whatever you want to because you're not supposed to be held accountable. But when you're middle class and you're lower class, especially if you're a part of the poor class, you're persecuted to the end of your life because they know good and well you cannot afford an attorney. You don't know the first thing about what the court system is going to do to you. And it's like, we just got another pawn. We got another slave that we can use for our well-being. So another thing that is happening now, under the Biden-Harris administration, they also created the America Rescue Plan. The America Rescue Plan has done an enormous amount of things for different states and communities. The thing is, in those states, they're building the white communities. There are pretty much little to no resources that are going to black and brown communities. And what this does, this forces you in that black and brown community to go 15, 20 miles outside of where you live to get what's necessary for what you want. And the reason why it's going to take that much longer now to get to where you want to be is because of gentrification. with the gentrification that's being taken place now in most of those areas that are black and brown, that are poor, rundown communities, there's nothing going there but service stations, check cashing places, liquor stores, and other variations of convenience stores. They're going to give you they're going to give you a bunch of fast food restaurants. And in those fast food restaurants, you know that's not good food for you. So again, it's contributing to your bad health that you're helping to kill yourself. Well, you're contributing to that. And so what that means is that when you got these 5 people, maybe that's trying to start businesses in these communities, you don't support those businesses because you say the products aren't good. The products aren't good because they're black, apparently. Is that correct? Somebody tell me that I'm wrong about that. But you can take your ass 35 miles outside of where you live and support these white establishments that ain't putting shit back in your community. And you got these people that you're following in entertainment that's telling you that you should do this, that, or the other, knowing that it's against your interest, because they feel like as long as they can keep you down, that you're going to always support them and you're going to give them the benefit of the doubt of everything they're doing. Stop buying them damn books that they're putting out there, because those books, they're not for you. They can say 1,000,001 things, but they're not for you. What they want for you is your money. As long as they got your money and they know that you can't pay no rent, you can't live solidly however you want to live, you're going to always come back and give them your money, and you're going to give them some praise. You're going on social media, you're going to be giving them some likes. You're going to be giving them some good comments. You're going to be doing all this to blow them all the way up because they make money off of those posts and those comments. But you can sit there and you can say, because it's black, it's not good. Again, this is divide and conquer, and it is working in the worst way when it comes to our communities. They're also opposing DEI. Which means that they are about the racism that's taking place right now as well. But under the Harris-Biden administration, where they're trying to fight these things, you're listening to somebody. You have all these people out here saying that they have contributed to all these things, and that they started this and they started that. If you live in the past, I will tell you this. Let me just tell you this. Because what they're trying to say when it comes to Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, they're trying to say that Kamala Harris is only about imprisoning black men when she was the district attorney for both San Francisco as well as California. They're trying to say that. Well, that's a blatant lie. This woman has prosecuted maybe 1,200 people total for marijuana use, and only a handful of those people were black. But they're telling that Fox News is really spreading this big blatant lie, saying that she just criminalized black men. And now you got black men running around here saying that Kamala Harris criminalized and prosecuted none but black men, and she locked a whole bunch of black men away. I want somebody to qualify that statement of her locking away all those black men. What are the numbers? When did they happen? Please be factual when you say these kind of things, because those that are really easily influenced and listening to that kind of crap will follow that same person over the edge when they fall off the cliff and die. And it died because, they was just following. They didn't make up this law, this rule. They didn't know anything about it, but this is what they was told. Why not go and research it yourself? Go find it yourself. Like I said, I'm independent. I'm independent. But I know if I want to have a chance for survival on the face of this earth going forward, I know good and well for me, I need Kamala Harris to be in the White House. I need Kamala Harris to be in the White House. Like I said, I'm not a Democrat, and I'm damn sure not a Republican. But I will tell you this, what's going to be more beneficial for me is to have Kamala Harris in the White House. Because as long as she's in the White House, that means that I stand a fighting chance of actually having a much better, decent life to live. If it's the other way around and the Antichrist, which was the occupier of the White House in 2016, if that occupier gets back in there only to occupy that seat again, that's not a president. That's a figurehead. That's a figurehead that's getting stuff from all these other people that are making up all these laws and rules. And these laws and rules are meant to do one thing. That is to affect the black, the brown, and the Asian, and whatever you want to call yourself, Polynesian, whatever you are. If you're non-white, that's what they want to do. But you also got to think about this. With all of us being people of color, and you all feel like, for some strange reason, minorities going at each other like this. And what it is you've actually, it's a horrible thing to say, but the black community is being attacked from all sides. But the thing that's so funny is we make up the majority of the world. The white people are the minority. Again, so we're not going to be talking about that little fake story that they put in these history books when they don't want to tell history and everything. Black people make up 90% of this world. 90%. 10% are non-white. I'm saying non-black. 10% is non-black. So if 10% is non-black, what does that tell you? That tell you that it shouldn't tell you that, oh, we all got to go out there and be individuals. What it should tell you is that because you got that 10% that's got this stranglehold on the actual system, they've got a stranglehold on the whole entire system. And having that stranglehold on the whole entire system means that anything outside of that is not going to prosper. It's not going to prosper. So when are we going to start working together and making shit happen? I tell you one thing, I'm for collaborations. I'm also for actually covering the real thing, the real stories, and telling nothing but the truth, because there's no embellishment here. No embellishment. What we talk about here, this is real. And a lot of y'all need to be sucking up some of this knowledge right here and sucking up this speech and actually come in and being actionable. You got to go out, you got to create, you got to make some things happen. Because if you're not making anything happen and you're just sitting there being a part of the status quo, then that means that you serve no purpose. Also, under the Harris and Biden administration, student loans. How about under this administration, they have forgiven over $168 billion in student loans. We're getting close to getting rid of all of that student loan debt. We need Kamala Harris in the White House so we can continue that. Because I'm sure it don't matter if you black, white, Puerto Rican, Jew, whatever you are. It does not matter. If you feel like you can still handle from these student loan borrowers that have partnered with the federal government since the Nixon administration, and they're here as federal student loan agencies. And it's been founded over time and time again now that they have actually lied and overcharged students like an enormous amount of money. It's happened to everyone. People have not started to look at that until these last few years. Now, on the conservative side, they say no, you shouldn't forgive student loan debt. No, you shouldn't forgive student loan debt. No, they shouldn't, because as long as they can milk you until the day you die, then that's what they're talking about. We're going to collect on this until you die. The only way you don't pay is you dead. Are you dead yet? Are you dead yet? The Biden-Harris administration has done a whole lot to take away student loan debt and still working on it. Now, how about the program that Biden originally started was upheld by, was not upheld, but it was shot down by the district court in Texas. A student at the University of Texas, a young lady, as a matter of fact, she was not African American, says that it was unfair that she didn't qualify for the program and everybody else did. And she said it was discrimination because she was white. Now, I'm sorry, but when you're privileged and you can continue to do things like that, where for some strange reason, out of all the district courts we got around this country, it takes only one district court to shoot down a law, a federal law, or that has come out from a federal program that's being set out there to help other people. So because this one young lady said that it was racist because she did not qualify for this program. Now I'm gonna sit here because I mean, this is the thing that kills me. When you're privileged and you can get everything you want, but if somebody black wanted to qualify for some of those things that they set strictly for white people, and they say, no, you don't qualify, you don't meet the statutes or whatever have you, can we go to the district court and have them shoot that down? The answer is hell no. According to this country and all these district courts that they've got set up, is that you can't dare go to district court if you black, brown, or anything else that's a non-minority. Well, I'm sorry, I take that back. I'm sorry. If you're black or brown, you're not allowed to do that. You can't do it. Because if you went to a district court, even if you had the actual representation to go to that district court, they're gonna shoot that shit down. Shoot it down. And they're gonna tell you, no, you just need to suck it up and do what you got to do. That's what they're gonna tell you. Now, see, this same district court in Texas is the same district court that says women can't get some kind of abortion pill that they need to take. Now, I'm trying to understand what in the world would make some man say that women can't have abortions. They don't have a right to control their bodies. And then they all vote yes on it. And now there are some women that's voting yes on that. This is like really backwards, but it's like being in Bizarro World. And when I say it's like being in Bizarro World, it's because when you have your laws that are in place to protect these things, but all of a sudden there's a maneuverability, that kind of like does like what they call it synchronized swimming. You can go synchronized swimming and you find a way to change what the real flow is supposed to be. So everything is flowing like this, but we're going to change it where it's going to do like this. And it's flowing. And so this is the right way. So this is what we're going to do now. So now we don't care about women's lives being at stake, especially for those that can't go long term with pregnancies. So now we just say, oh, well, she had an abortion. She goes to jail, but it's her body. But she can't make the choice to to decide if she wants that baby or not. Now I want everybody could give a big hand for the Christians. Yeah, the Christians. The Christians are more so against this than the Catholics. The Christians say, oh no, we're not going to have this abortion thing. Women should not have abortions. And you wonder, why is it that people are saying the things that they say, which are true about these particular churches? Is because when they created that religion's bull crap, way back there in, was that the 1800s, 1600s, whatever it was, talking about some damn religion. Yeah, religion is when they were making these prayers and things of that nature, where they were hailing to the devil, talking about Christ and what Christ is. Give me a break. Give me a break. Also, so to let you know, also with Kamala Harris also did a lot of things for the LGBTQ community as well. You know, those when there was hate crimes out there in San Francisco or California in general, she prosecuted those people for those hate crimes. She did. Yes, she did. That's not a lie. That is not a lie. But you see, I think just as you think about this, you know, we're starting to learn, you know, where people's minds are. Kamala has shown that she will do a lot when it comes to race and when it comes to equality and when it comes to economics, because it's a fact that when we talk about economics, the underserved communities as well as the LGBTQ communities are the ones that are affected the most. They are affected the most is because being the most innovative and the most creative and having the abilities to go out there and do what you have to do and not have to ask for so much is a problem, apparently, because it seems like when we just think about this this whole thing about um who is benefiting from some of these policies that we're talking about, you know, from Kamala Harris, everything that she's doing is for the people. She's trying to build the people. It might not be as fast, or it might not look the way most of us want it to look. That's what she's doing. Now, the only thing I can say, probably, and I don't know this, because I really don't, I don't know this, but I think that maybe for those things I just mentioned about Kamala Harris with the LGBTQ community, that could be one reason why whoever these black men for Trump, you know, maybe this is why they want to go with Donald Trump. I mean, that could be it. I mean, but if that is the case, why? So you don't feel like people in the LGBTQ community deserve to be treated fair or to have opportunities? Or is this one of those things that you've listened to stories and myths that people tell and you believe this is the way things are? It's one or the other. I just ask that you say what you mean and mean what you say. Because if this is what you mean, and you mean what you say when you say you're going to vote for Donald Trump, whatever that is, you should be man enough to come forward and let people know, yes, I'm voting for Donald Trump. Yes, I support Donald Trump. Come out and say it. Let everybody see you. Those of you know who I'm talking to. Those that are hiding. Those that are sitting there, backed up behind these little walls and hiding. But then at the same time, you're out there trying to preach and run to people in the underserved communities, talking about their support for you and giving you all of their money. Are you crazy? Now, I'm totally against that. But I can tell you this, going forward, as of the new things that we're going to be bringing to this show in 2025, those people, those very people, I'm not going to call you out now, but I can tell you from January 1st, 2025, all the way through until I get tired. It could be 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years later. I'm never going to let people forget what you did, who you supported, and how you supported these folk, and that had the negative effects on all of these communities that you're getting all of your wealth from. This is like insane to know that people have no moral compass. You don't have a moral compass. You don't have no kind of ethics whatsoever when you feel like it's okay to scam and take away from those less served people that really need their way of living. And you're going to help this scum take away the rights of the things that they need. Mm-mm. You can't call yourself a black man and doing that kind of stuff. Now, if you're doing that for show, then you need to keep that shit to yourself, because nobody needs to hear that. Oh, I'm supporting Donald Trump. You need to keep that to yourself. Now, if you're talking about you're supporting Donald Trump because of business standards or business breaks or some kind of tax break, then say you like what he's saying when it comes to that. But that still doesn't mean that you have to vote for him. I'm a small business owner, but I'm not voting for him. I'm definitely not voting for him. I mean, this is horrible. I mean, look, come on, give me some comments. Give me some comments. Give me some feedback. Because I need that. I need that as we're running through this, because I'm sure that there are like an enormous amount of people that are looking at this, that this is going through you, where you know that this relates to you. You know what's right. And you know what you should be doing. But tell me, if somebody's paying you for your vote, please tell me that somebody's paying you for your vote. I mean, at least then you get a little credence. But that means you also need to shut your damn mouth, because don't nobody need to know that. You see, you can't have it both ways. It's like the Libra scales when they say they're unbalanced. That's what this is. That's what this is for those black men for Trump. This is their life. This is what they're doing. And they're so busy trying to hide all the things that they're doing that they don't know how to even respond. And when I say that, I really do mean that. They don't even know how to respond. And when I say they don't know how to respond, they don't know how to come out to talk to people in general, to tell people what they really stand for, what they're about. Because Donald Trump has lied so much now that you got people like just running around now. It don't care if it's business, if it's everyday life, if it's just vicariously being related to somebody and going through somebody else. I mean, people are just lying. I mean, just telling blatant lies, things that don't make sense, things that are untrue, but things that also are causing problems. And you just lying. Just like Donald Trump. And it's like they're saying, if Donald can do it, I can do it too. But apparently you can't. You can't. I wonder. I want somebody to tell me: is it better to lie, or is it better to tell the truth? That's not a rhetorical question. That's a real question. Which is better, truth or lies? So also under this the Biden and Harris administration, they're trying to make things a little bit easier for all of us, where they want to keep us with our voting rights. They want to keep DEI. They want to try to find a way to bring back affirmative action. But let me tell you this. Wait a minute, let me just jump over here on this real quick, because I think people need to understand something about that damn 2025 project. As people sitting there talking about, okay, the Republicans have got the 2025 project, they are like on point, and they are just bringing the conservative movement. Yeah, it's there. Okay, that's on the surface. Now, when you start to delve into it and you think about it, they want to take away voting rights. Take away voting rights. Black people can't vote. If you ain't white, you can't vote. DEI, which is another part of racism. 2025 project eliminates this. Eliminates this. It eliminates voting rights. You remember President Obama's second term? No, his first term. When it was brought to him and mentioned about why not pass the bill for voting rights, because he had both the House and the Senate. And he said, nobody is trying to take away your right to vote. Look where we are today. Look where we are today. That could have been remedied. But of course, 2020 is hindsight. And when I say that, I'm not taking a shot at nobody. I'm just only speaking the truth as to what happened or what transpired. And again, a lot of people can't stand the truth, but the truth is what it is. The truth is what it is. We don't need to be sitting up here lying, talking about something. Well, I can look at the sky and I see it's blue. And they say, oh, no, that's orange. The sky is orange. That's orange right there. Am I really an idiot to believe that? Or is it that all of a sudden I've just gotten that much dumber that I can look at somebody telling me plain as day that I don't see what I see? This is what Trump people are doing. This is what the MAGA crowd are doing. Also, they've already taken away affirmative action. It's already gone. We need to bring that back, like we need to bring back Roe v. Wade. That needs to come back, because I believe women, just like anybody else, should have their rights. I believe that. But there's no man, no old white man that's going to sit there and all his whole thing is, his whole self-being is, I'm going to take away a woman's rights. Women shouldn't have rights. Oh my God, just think about how that sounds. They're saying women shouldn't have rights. Okay, they also say black people shouldn't have rights. So I want you to think about that. So if the 2025 project is going to take away voting rights, DEI, they've already taken away affirmative action, and the many other countless things around this country that affects each and every individual, they want to take these things away. They want to eliminate the Department of Education. They want to eliminate the Department of Education. So that means when they want to also go into the regulations now where they want to take race out, what that means is that when you go to any of these schools, the school don't have to accept you. That means that you can't go to school because you don't qualify.